Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to complete the request by Tamomalek with the October-November 2024 paper 2-3 of the computer science IGCSE. Okay, so the question says members of a litter picking group complete a litter pick every month. Members' names are stored in one-dimensional 1D array. So let's take note of some data structures that we're going to be using. Each member stores the weight of the litter they have picked in another one-dimensional array, picker weight. The weights are in kilograms. Okay, so let's take note of that with one decimal place. So this is very important. The position of each member's data in the two arrays is the same. Okay, so if you've been following up this style of question, you would easily understand what this means. So it means that the individual whose name is going to appear in position 10 is the owner of the weight that will appear in position 10 here. Okay, so every month there is a small prize awarded to the members of the group who have the two heaviest weights. Okay, so take note of that. 2 persons are awarded prizes. Okay, certificates are awarded to all members with peak weight over 3 kilograms. So this is very important, so you need to take note of that as well. That's for certificates. Right, so I'm going to skip this part because I'm going to copy it and use it in writing the program. Okay, so you must use program code or pseudocode and add comments to explain how your code works. Okay, so it is important for you to add comments. Very important. You do not need to declare any arrays or variables. You may assume that this has already been done. Okay, so in the exams you don't need to do this, but in our case we have to because we intend to run the program, right? So that you can be sure that the program is working correctly. Okay, all inputs and output must contain suitable messages. So this is also very important. You do not need to initialize the data in the array picker name. Okay, yes, you do not need to do that for the exam's sake, but for us we would do it because we want to see our program run, right? Okay, so let's go straight to solving the problem. So I'm going to copy the questions here, which is going to help us in the coding. And then I'll go to my PyCharm, I'll paste it, select all, Ctrl// to comment everything out. All right, so before we begin, we need to take note of our data structures. Okay, what are the data structures that we need? We need picker name. So let me just do this. We need picker name, picker weight, picker name. We need certificates. Yeah, so these are the only ones that were clearly mentioned in the question. So any other data structure that you create, it is up to you now. Okay, so we were not told to input names into picker name. Okay, so that means we need to initialize them because we want to run our program. So I'm just going to use arbitrary names here. Yeah, I think I should include my name as well. What do you think? Yeah. Okay, so let's leave it at this since we were not told the maximum number of members in the club. So the other thing that we need is the size, and to get the size is not a big deal. It's just to get the length of picker name. Okay, so once you do that, you have gotten the size of the members. Allows the weight of members picked to be input and validated. Okay, now the challenge with the validation here is that we were not told the values to use in the validation, so we need to make some very informed guesses here. The decision I want us to take here is that, of course, if they are picking weight, the weight must be more than 0, right? Okay, so I think my major concern will be the minimum value. The maximum value we were not taught, so we can't make any assumptions. Yeah, okay, but you can if you want to. Okay, you can if you want to, but in this case I wouldn't want to because I don't think it is necessary. Okay, index in range. Sorry. So we need the weight. We're starting off from 0. Okay, so while the weight is less than or equal to 0, then we can assume that the input is invalid. Yeah, now we need to leave it as float because the picker weight is in 1 decimal place. Remember that. Okay, so this is going to display, enter the weight for the first person, Peter, must be more than 0 kg. Okay, so this is going to keep the user trapped here until this condition is met. So after doing that, we now need to append it to picker weight. Yeah, allows the weights to be unimputed. Okay, so we need to append it. Okay, so once we do that, we have completed this phase. I don't think there is need for us to bother to check if this works or not because I think it should work. Okay, let me just check. I can't seem to resist the temptation. Okay, okay, let me put some space here. So let's say I do -1, that wouldn't work. I do 0, that wouldn't work. But let's say I do 23. Of course, it moved on to the next person. Good. So that means this is okay at this stage. So let me stop the running. So the next part says sort the arrays. So it's going to sort picker weight and picker name in descending order of the weight. Okay. So now remember that in sorting we need a double loop to do a complete sorting. This video is not about sorting, but however, if you want me to prepare a special video on why this is like this, please do let me know. I will prepare a special video explaining in details why we need to minus all of these things. Okay, proceed. So the idea is that if the weight in front is less than the weight after it, we need to swap them. Okay, so let's do the swapping now. All right, so this value will be interchanged with this value, that value interchanged with that value. Okay, do we have any complaints here? Is everything looking okay? I believe so. So once you have swapped that, you also need to do the same to picker name because that is what the instruction requires you to do. Please, when you take this my lazy approach of copying and pasting, do well to double check. Make sure that you've done all the corrections else you will be in trouble. All right, so this sorts out the sorting issue. All right, so before we move on, we need to comment. I think at this point we can run this program to check if our swap is actually working. Okay, if the sorting that we did is actually producing the right result. Okay, so all I have to do here is to print picker name and then print picker weight as well. Okay. Okay, let's run it and see. Okay, that works. Okay, so remember, let's go. Who is the person with the highest weight here? That's Namdi, which is 30.2. So that is here. You can see the next highest weight is Uche, 23.5. That's this one. What are the highest weight? 23. That's Peter, right? So everything looks okay here. So the sorting actually worked. All right, let's proceed. The next part says output the members' names and the peak weight of the members with two heaviest peaks. Of course, they would be the first two, right? Okay, and identifies them as best in group and second best in group. Okay, so what we need to do here is that in order for us to use the loops, okay, to handle this, in order for us to use loop to handle this, we just need to create an array that we're going to put these guys into so that we can just reference their position in a loop. Let me start from here. Okay, so having done this, we can continue. So we will now have to loop just twice to print the best in the group and the second best in the group. Okay, let me do this here first. Okay, so remember that this has to be printed in one decimal place as per the instruction. Okay, all right, so by doing this we would have succeeded in printing the members with the heaviest weight, the two of them. All right, so the next thing we need to do is to store the names of all the members who will receive a certificate in picker certificate. Now remember that the question says the condition for doing this is that the person must have picked weight that is more than 3 kg. That is here. The weight must be more than 3 kg. Okay, let's do that. Okay, so this would do the job for us, adding their names to the picker certificate. Okay, because the question says stores their names, just their names. Okay, so having done this, we can finally conclude saying outputs a message stating the number of certificates to be printed. Okay, so how do we ensure that? We just do print Okay, so the quickest way to do this is actually to just print the length of the picker certificate array. Once we do that, we have gotten the number of persons. Okay, the second approach would have been to maybe to introduce a counter here and then print the counter. All right. So that's the number of certificates to be printed. What else? Okay, so I think this sorts out the entire question. Okay, so let's try to run it again to see the final result. Okay, so let me use some weights that are below 3 to see how our program responds, and then go for some crazy weights. Okay, so let's see. So there's no point checking the sorting part because we've already done that. So members with the heaviest peaks. So best in group is Namdi, of course, with the highest weight here. And then the second best in group is Usman. Usman has 30 kg. And then you have 4 to be printed. So we need to add a message. You have 4 certificates. Okay, to be printed. Okay, so that should sort the entire thing out. So let's confirm if there are 4 of them. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, because these ones are below 3. Okay, so this sorts out the entire problem. This question seems straightforward. So please, I want to encourage you to share, to like, to subscribe. You may have a friend or two or a student who needs to watch this video and learn as well. Okay, so I wish you all the best in your exams, and I hope that you do well. Okay, bye.